If you discovered the cure for cancer, you would tell everybody. Writing your book is no different. Your book is a solution to something. Your transformation is a solution for somebody else who either hasn't yet gone through what you went through, or is in the middle of what you already went through. Your book is their transformation. You're going to collapse time for them. If you've ever wondered what things to avoid or what things you should do long before you ever start writing your book, I got you in this episode, because today I'm covering the 7 things I wish I knew before I self-published my first book. I'm talking platform, I'm talking things to do before you ever start writing, things to do while you're writing, all those good things. So tune into this episode. Now, before I get into those things, I want to share an exciting announcement with you, but I'm going to share it with you at the end of the episode. So make sure you stick around to the very end for that announcement, okay? Good evening and happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Welcome to another edition of the Getting the Win Show. I am your host, Melissa T, the Procrastination Bully, and your hashtag author bestie. Thank you so much for tuning in. My mission with this show is to help women who've navigated a trauma or transition create transformation and experience transformation by writing and publishing their first book. And today I'm going to talk about my transformation from when I published my first book. All right. I'm going to share the 7 things I wish I knew before I self-published it. These are lessons I've since learned. And to be fair, some of these entries on the list have recently been added given the shift in technology with AI and all the things. But I'm still giving you this full list if you're somebody that's super cautious, you're wondering if you should bother writing your book. Maybe you see it as yet another thing you have to do, yet another thing to add to your calendar. And maybe you want to be very cautious. You want to measure twice, cut once, right? I get it. So I got you. I'm that type of person too. I'm very cautious. I like to have my ducks in a row before I do something big or something important. So I got you. I'm here for you. Number 1, the first thing I wish I would have done before I started with my first book is do market research first. Do market research first. And this is what I teach my students now. People that go through the author activation weekend, my students who've been through the to Transformation Book Bootcamp, this is one of the first things I teach them. Do market research first. And these days, because AI now exists, it didn't exist back in 2014 for consumers. AI was in existence long before. Like, AI has been around for about 20 or 30 years now, just not at the regular person, lay person, consumer level. But now that AI is at our fingertips, literally, between Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, ChatGPT, Notebook LM, Manus, all of these tools, there's a ton of them. Now that all of these tools are available to us, you can use your AI tool to do market research for you long before you ever start writing, to test your market, to make sure that there's room for your book. If you're doing something that's brand new or different, it's going to take you a long time to gain traction. On the opposite side, if you're in a topic, when you ask your AI tool and you see that there are a lot of books on the subject, that's a good sign, because it means there's still demand for that topic. Okay? So you go to your AI tool, you tell it that it is the senior editor for the largest publishing house in the United States. You tell it the topic you're thinking about, or the topic you want to write about, the topic you have expertise in. And then you ask it to show you the top 10 New York Times bestselling books on the topic, and ask it to describe for you the target readers who buy those books primarily. The majority of the heavy lift is going to be done for you, because the AI is going to tell you who your target reader is going to be. You don't have to come up with it. It's going to give you statistically the kind of target reader that buys those types of books on that subject matter. And then from there, you can talk with the AI tool about how to craft your marketing language to speak directly to that target reader. Okay? So much of that is now taken out of your hands because the AI tool is going to do it for you. Back in 2014, I would have had to come up with all of that, and I would have had to Google that information myself. Number 2, This one's going to hurt a little bit. It's going to sting. It's going to be disappointing a little bit. Book sales alone won't make you a lot of money. I wish I knew that before I started. Don't get me wrong, like learning it mid process didn't make the world end, but it helps that you know this ahead of time. Book sales alone won't make you a lot of money unless you're already well known. Someone like James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, that man's book to this day, years after its release, is still selling 40,000 copies a month. Something like that, like thousands of copies per month. Atomic Habits, a book on habit building, replacing bad habits with good ones. Core concept. Fortunately for him, his book is about a concept that is universally appealing. Corporations need that teaching for their employees. Personal development brands need that for their teams. Individuals want it to improve themselves. That principle can be applied in schools, whether, primary or secondary or post-secondary. He wrote a book that had a universal appeal. So that book is forever selling thousands and thousands of copies. Your book may be a bit more specific, and that's okay. While book sales alone won't make you a lot of money, this brings me to lesson number 3, which is make the book a business. In a recent interview that I had with Marie Incontrera, who is also an author coach, she did the same thing for her book. She's an author herself of multiple books. The cheat code is to create a service or a community around the book or a business around the book, and then put your information in the book to collect email addresses so that you can start to increase your readership and capture those email addresses. Because if you're like most people, most first time authors who use Amazon KDP or something very quick, a lot of those platforms don't give you the buyer's information. You don't have a way of capturing that. They're keeping that for themselves. Amazon's not going to tell you who bought your book. They're just going to give you the number. You got this many sales this month. That's it. But if you create a business around your book and create a way to capture leads in your book, I recommend beginning, middle, and end. Marie recommends beginning and end. And traditional publishing houses do the same thing for their best-selling authors, beginning and end. And that's all right. The point is you have a way to capture your readers' information so that now that they're on your mailing list, they're in your ecosystem. You can create an email sequence where you thank them for purchasing the book, and you can then sell them other things. You can shoot them something for free, something that's very valuable for them. You know what I mean? Once they're in your ecosystem, there are possibilities for you beyond just the book sale. Okay? So within this one, making the book a business, there's a lot that goes with it. So the next part, as part of making the book a business that I had to learn and understand, form a business entity. If you're going to deal with any kind of business, anything, you got to form an entity. Start with an LLC, right? And keep it simple in the beginning. Single member LLC, you're the author. The business entity is just for you with your books, right? Now, in the writing world, some would call it an imprint. This would be your own imprint. An imprint is just another name for like a publishing company, but it's bespoke to you. This is strictly your company. And you'll see that sometimes. One of my guests that has been on the show several times, L. David Harris, he has his own imprint. L. David Harris Publishing. It's his imprint. Now, mind you, he has a publishing company, so he's brought other clients through his imprint, not just his own books. But for you, before you start, know that you can form an LLC with just an imprint that is just your books. You don't necessarily have to be thinking about publishing other people's books under your imprint. That's if you want to do that later on down the line. But for your own books, why not? Why not do that? Form the business entity that's connected to just your books or just your book, singular. I'm speaking in plural because every single author client I've ever had always ends up realizing that they have more than one book in them once I walk them through the process. We usually have more than one book in us because we have so many stories and so many lessons that we've learned in our lives, right? But form your business entity, create a business around your book. And similarly, this is also connected, tie in an offer. This goes back to what I was saying about giving the readers a downloadable, something they can get for free that is of high value. Tying in an offer is the way that you can collect their email address when they're reading the book. In the beginning of the book, the middle of the book, and the end, or in the beginning of the book and at the end. But tying in an offer of some kind. From my example, for the Pain to Prose playbook, since I'm teaching the F5 framework, maybe them reading it in the book won't be enough for them to implement, and that's fine. The core business principle is give the information away for free, sell the implementation. And Ryan Levesque, author of the New York Times bestselling book Ask, said that his mentor told him, give the information away for free because people will pay you to teach it to them again, which is absolutely true. So give the information away, sell the implementation. In my case, Pain to Prose Playbook is the one book. It's the low ticket offer. People will have the opportunity to sign up with me for my Truth to Transformation Book Bootcamp. The bootcamp is free with a VIP option that is a paid option if people want to, pay their way to the front of the class, as Lisa A. Smith would put it. There's an upsell for a VIP ticket, which grants greater access to me and, other great benefits. But in principle, the boot camp is free. People don't have to go to the VIP level if they don't want to. And that is a way to tie in an offer. Even though the thing is free, it's still an offer. So tying in an offer, okay? That's all of that is part of making the book a business and building a business around it. If you are someone who has a dream of speaking from a stage, a book is one of the best ways to get there. Yes, people can get booked to speak, and there are itinerant speakers who are not authors yet. Having a book increases your chances of getting selected to speak. Because I promise you, if an event coordinator lines you up next to someone else, and the both of you have the exact same credentials, but you're the one that has the book, you're the one that's the author, they're picking you. Because a book adds a level of credibility that speaking alone does not. A book is a physical representation of expertise. It is the biggest ad that I know what I'm talking about. So if you ever wondered why you should write a book, or should you write one, like would anybody take it seriously? The answer is yes. When people hear that you're an author, people are impressed because they understand the commitment that's required to publish a book. And not everybody has that level of commitment. So if you choose to commit all the way through to completing your book, you will be in the 0.1 percentile of people. 85% of Americans say they want to write a book. 10% start the process. 0.1% actually publish. You will be in the top 0.1%. That makes you elite. Sure, are there millions of authors? Absolutely. But remember, the US alone has over 330 million people. 0.1% ain't that much by comparison. Now zoom all the way out to the rest of the world. 8.2 billion people on the planet, 4 billion of that 8.2 billion have an internet connection. How many of those are authors, published authors? You are in an elite group once you're a published author. You're an even more elite group once you get onto the lists. USA Today bestseller, LA Times bestseller, and especially the New York Times bestseller list. That's the elites of the elites in terms of author groups. And that's something to shoot for. But in terms of this first book, get it done if for no other reason than to be in the top 0.1%. Now, this leads me to number 4 that I wish I had understood before I started self-publishing, which is be open to creating a series. The first book I self-published is called From a Babe. It's a 52-week devotional. I've told my story about creating that book before on the show. What I did not know when I did that book, I was being obedient to God at the time. Didn't know I was gonna become a serial author, like a multi-book author. But from that book, through reader feedback, I was able to create a Bible study workbook. And thanks to the pastor for my church home in Orlando, Grace Bible Church of Central Florida, I had the privilege of teaching a small group Bible study based on the devotional. And that reader feedback was clutch for me because the lady, shout out to Miss Belinda Foster, I love her forever for this feedback. She said, I love the book. I love what you taught us in it, but there was no place for me to take notes. And I said, okay, noted. Hence, the Bible study workbook was born. I created a whole big workbook with all the lines and thought-provoking questions to take notes and do discussion. And by the way, she was a participant in that small group Bible study. It was 9 weeks and it was great. We had a great time in that Bible study. Small, intimate group of people, but it was great. Be open to creating a series of books. Now, since I'm a writer and someone who just loves the game of writing, like I'm gonna be an author till I die. I'll be a writer till I die. I'm a playwright, a screenwriter, and an author, and a poet. Like if it has to do with writing, I'm doing it. I've been a copywriter, writing marketing material for people. Like if it has to do with writing, I'm doing it. That's the skill set God gave me. So I have a fictional suspense ebook series. I have 2 episodes in that series that are published right now. There's the From a Babe series, and that series is pretty much just updated editions of the book. There's the original, there's the Bible study workbook, and From a Babe 2.0 is the updated version that is a combination of the first 2. From a Babe 2.0 is a regular size book now with the questions inside it and the blanks for people to take notes. The original From a Babe was content, but no way to take notes. The From a Babe Bible Study Workbook is not the book itself. You would have to buy the book to go with the Bible Study Workbook and then do the discussions, read the questions, and answer them. From a Babe 2.0, you just buy the one book and it's all in there. Everything you need. The spaces to write your notes, thought-provoking questions for small group discussion, everything. But be open to creating a series. And that way, that can become a passive income stream for you. And this goes back to what I was talking about in terms of making the book a business, tying in that offer. Because when you now have a series, in each book that you publish, you can have a promo page for the other books in the series. How many books have you read where you would turn to a page that says other books by this author, and then they list the titles? Same thing. If you want to tie in an offer, what you can do is have a book website or a landing page where they can buy another book that's related to the one they're reading, create a QR code, and while they're looking at your book, they can hold up their phone, scan the QR code, order the next book. It's great. Money while you sleep. Okay? Now, talking about creating a series, here's what you're going to need, which brings me to number 5, your own ISBN. I wish I knew that before I published From a Babe. That book used an Amazon issued ISBN. Here's the truth about ISBNs. If you've never heard me say this before, if this is your first time watching me, if you're publishing a book, purchase your own ISBNs. That way you have creative control over where you can publish them. If the publishing platform you use is offering you a free ISBN and you want to use that, just know that that platform is the only place where that version of the book can live because you use their ISBN. Okay? If you want to maintain creative control over your book, Purchase your own ISBNs from myidentifiers.com. ISBN is an International Standard Book Number. Okay? So purchase your own ISBNs. That way you can publish to as many places as possible. And I'll get to that a little later in the episode. I'll talk to you about that. But here's number 6. I needed to market my book myself. And that's something you've got to know too and fully embrace. Especially if you're someone who likes to pour into people, you have a servant's heart, you have a ministry heart maybe, you're going to have to talk about your book. You're going to have to talk about what you provide. And no, it's not sleazy, it's not selfish if you talk about it from a place of service. If you know that the book that you're creating is going to cause transformation for the people that read it, shout it from the rooftops. Think about it in any other context of your life. How many times have you discovered something that is helpful or that worked for you, and the first thing you did after it worked for you was tell somebody else about it? Right? Whether it's a product, a service, a YouTube video, clothing even, if you thought, some clothing was really cool, or somebody else came up to you and complimented you on your clothes and you told them exactly where they could buy it, right? It's the same thing. If your expertise can cause transformation for someone else in the form of a book, shout the transformation from the rooftops. Let the people know what they can get if they get this book. That way, you don't have to feel sleazy like, oh, I'm talking about myself, ew. No, you're providing assistance in the form of your book. If you discovered the cure for cancer, you would tell everybody. Writing your book is no different. Your book is a solution to something. Your transformation is a solution for somebody else who either hasn't yet gone through what you went through, or is in the middle of what you already went through. Your book is their transformation. You're going to collapse time for them. That way they don't have to go through it for as long as you did, because you learned everything already. Shout transformation from the rooftops. Once you see sales as a form of service, then it's far less gross. It's far less gross. It's far less selfish. Now, part of the marketing process that I wish I knew before I self-published my first book was documenting the process. Taking pictures of myself typing or videos of myself typing. Nowadays, I do YouTube shorts every morning, so kind of documenting the process in that way, kind of. But doing screen captures of me typing and showing me correcting stuff or me voicing frustrations over stuff. Either way, documenting the process, showing my book cover design or the process of which I chose my color scheme. And again, going back to market research, item number 1 for my cover design. I did market research when I did my cover design. And that's something you'll need to do too once you get into that particular pillar. That's the polishing and presenting pillar 3 in my F5 framework. But document the process. You'll want to do that. That way people have buy-in. Once they have buy-in and they're invested in your result, they'll support the result. They'll support the finished book if they saw how you built it out. So remember, for you, document the process, okay? Even if it's ugly, even if it's messy, even if there are days when you have tears in your eyes because you revisited the trauma. And even though you went in to extract the lessons, maybe you went in a little too deep and the emotions just washed over you. That's okay. Document that too. Let other authors know what they're in for should they take this journey too. Because as you document that, you're going to come out the other side. And when they see that you made it out, they can be like, oh, okay, this is possible for me too. Even if I end up back there for a while, I can still make it out. Okay? Remember, essentially, you're selling transformation. And that's what anybody wants that buys nonfiction books. We're buying the books to learn the things we need to implement to transform our lives. Sell the transformation. And number 7, the last thing I wish I knew. Amazon is not the only platform in the world for your book. I did a previous episode where I talked about global platforms on which to publish your book. Don't get me wrong, Amazon has several other global marketplaces, but it's still only the one platform. It's still Amazon. There are plenty of other platforms. There are still people out there who have a Sony e-reader. There are still people out there who read Nook books. That's the Barnes & Noble e-reader. Amazon's e-reader is the Kindle, of course. But yeah, Barnes & Noble has their own. What if people want your book and they want to be able to take notes, but maybe they like taking notes in a book that's spiral bound, so it feels more like a journal? There are options. There are platforms that will allow you to publish a spiral bound book. Amazon KDP is not one of them. Okay? There are options for you out there. I'll link the episode in the show notes so you can go click on that so you can take a look at all of the other platforms that are available to you. And there are plenty. But this multiple platform thing is why I mentioned purchasing your own ISBNs. For each platform that you publish on, you'll need an ISBN, a specific ISBN for your book on that platform if you intend to publish the same version of your book on those platforms. Here's a practical example so as to not confuse you. I'm going to have the Paint to Prose playbook in at least 3 formats: paperback, ebook, and hardcover with dust jacket. And because I plan to use Ingram Spark to make that happen, Ingram Spark also distributes to Amazon, okay? And I have to go through Ingram Spark because I want the pre-order function to be available on Amazon. Amazon doesn't allow you to do pre-orders. You can schedule a launch, but that's different from doing a pre-order campaign. That's different. Ingram Spark allows you to do that. That way people can go to your Amazon page and see the pre-order button. Amazon doesn't allow you to do that directly in KDP. So because my paperback and my hardcover with the dust jacket and the ebook are going to be available on Amazon as well as Ingram Spark, I'm going to need different ISBNs for each of those so that Amazon and Ingram don't have duplicate listings. That's going to cause a problem for my book sales. It will delay the returns for me. It'll delay the return of my royalties. And it could cause some logistical problems between Ingram Spark and Amazon for me. Like they might call me and be like, girl, what you doing? So for each platform, I will need ISBNs. For each version of the book, I will need ISBNs. The paperback will have its own. The hardcover with the dust jacket will have its own. The ebook version will have its own. The audiobook version, when that comes out, will have its own. Each version of your book needs its own ISBN. And for the printed versions, you'll need a barcode. So hardcover with dust jacket, your ebook, your spiral bound book, if you decide to do a spiral, your paperback, all of those will need a barcode. MyIdentifiers.com provides custom packages where you can order a certain amount of ISBNs along with a barcode. Okay? But yes, Amazon is not the only platform in the world for your book. There are plenty of others. Publish Drive is a good one. That one distributes in Asia. Book Vault distributes in the UK, which is amazing. And from what I understand from other authors who have used it, Book Vault is by far the highest quality in terms of your hardcovers and in terms of the color of the ink. Like the ink is rich, it's high contrast, it's high quality. So it elevates the quality of your book compared to Amazon KDP. No shade to KDP. If you want to start there for the purposes of simplicity, start there. Keep it simple. It's very user-friendly. There's a low bar to entry. And you can get your book published very quickly through them. Okay? But just know they're not the end-all be-all. I have the episode in the show notes for you showing you all of those other options for book platforms to get your book to go wide across the world. Because while the United States has over 330 million plus people, remember 4 billion with a B people in the world have internet access. They can buy your book. So don't limit yourself to just the American audience if you don't have to. Okay? Now, if you want a deeper dive into all of these things and the solutions that you need for it, I've got my Truth to Transformation Book Bootcamp coming up in June. It's going to start June 1st. So be sure to go to bootcamp.melissathomas.co/sign up if you're interested in that. And like I said, the bootcamp is free. The VIP option is just that. It's an option if you want to pay into that and come to the front of the class, as Lisa A. Smith would say. But go to bootcamp.melissathomas.co/sign up if you're interested in joining the bootcamp. It's a 21-day bootcamp where I walk you through the entire F5 framework. And the purpose of the 21-day bootcamp is to complete your rough draft. It is possible to finish an entire book in 21 days. So if that sounds good to you, be sure to go to that website. I'll have it in the show notes as well. That way you can click on it and sign up and join me in June. Now, as promised, here's my exciting announcement. I'm going to be going live on Thursdays, y'all. So these Wednesday episodes will continue. The Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, we are locked in, no problem. Wednesdays will be the pre-recorded episodes and my interviews. You guys have been loving those, so those will continue. Thursday, though, will be live, 7 p.m. Eastern. So you can look forward to Ask Me Anything sessions where you're doing the hot seat questions with me, or I'm doing the hot seat with you. Maybe you have a book idea and you want to talk it through with somebody like a live person instead of with an AI tool. I get it. Or maybe you want some help in terms of how to use an AI tool, maybe the prompts that you should put in. I got you on those episodes. So the Thursday lives will be AMAs. They will be student case studies, people who've been through the Truth to Transformation Bootcamp sharing their testimonies, people who've been through the author activation weekend sharing their testimonies, so that you can see what is possible for you. Even with a life that is super busy, even as someone who loves to serve, you're constantly putting other people first, you're exhausted, kind of burnt out, getting your book out is still possible for you. And I'll have folks on as possibility models sharing their stories with you of how they were able to do it with the little amount of time they had and still made it possible. So hot seat episodes, case study episodes where I'm talking with people who have been through the process. I'll also share industry updates, what's going on in the self-publishing industry. Because with the advent of AI, the self-publishing industry has shifted tremendously since 2012 when I published my first book. So I'll be going over the latest industry changes, different policies for the different platforms. When new platforms become available to you, I will have live streams where I talk about that stuff. So it'll be a weekly structure, Thursdays at 7 p.m. So come with your questions, come ready to learn, ready to take notes, and come ready to engage with fellow aspiring authors or fellow authors in the audience. Can't wait to see you there. Same channel. So to make sure you never miss either episode, whether that's the recorded ones or the live streams, be sure to subscribe here on YouTube at Getting the Win so you get the notifications for both. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads at Getting the Win Show. Follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me on LinkedIn at Melissa Thomas. That's Melissa with 2 L's and 2 S's. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching with me, LinkedIn is where you can hit me up for that. Just shoot me a DM. Send me an invite and shoot me a DM for that. In the meantime, in between time, I hope you have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday, a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.